So this is Little Grave Creek in Glendale. And this is what happens on our road every time it rains. These people here have to dig themselves out. Causes traffic to slow, move to one lane just so two cars can get past. And the state has done nothing except for one time a couple years ago put some rocks in the culverts. But they've done nothing to stop the problem. If they would get an excavator or a backhoe out here for a few hours and clean these culverts out and clean the drains out that run underneath the road, which there are several up through here that are plugged up. This has been like this since I've lived out here. And after they paved the new road, it freezes and thaws and freezes and thaws, and it's busted. So this road's only 2 years old, this new pavement. But look at it already, because they don't have it drained into the creek. And the water just lays there for weeks. It never dries up, actually. On out here, after several complaints, and I finally had to call our delegate to get this done. This was plugged up a couple years ago, and when the state road came out, they just dug 2-3 feet out and left it. So now if someone gets over too far, they're going into that ditch. But you can see where it's draining into the culvert that goes underneath the road. And like I said, there's several more down through there that are plugged up that the state hasn't done anything with. Now I understand that there's lots of problems on the roads, slips and everything else. But all this would take is a couple hours with a backhoe and a dump truck, clean these culverts out, and it would get cleaned up. And it would save repairs for later on these roads. Now on out here about half a mile, there's a place that it constantly runs across the road into the people's yard and then it freezes. This had about 4 or 5 inches of ice on it here last week when we had freezing temperatures. But this is every time it rains. Comes off of the hillside. This culvert is completely plugged up, so the water has nowhere to drain, and it drains across the road into these people's yard. If I lived there, I'd be raising hell with the state constantly. But this is ridiculous. I've sent letter after letter, email after email with no response. Priority roads, like I said, bring the backhoe out and leave it in my yard and I'll clean it up. You won't have to spend any man hours doing it. It's absolutely ridiculous, the little effort that it would take to clean. And all it's doing is ruining the roads, so you're going to have more repairs later on, obviously. Again, more of the culvert that needs cleaned out through there. They did clean this one out last year. So when they had the equipment out here, I don't know why they didn't do the rest of them. Up on the right, there's another place where it slipped off of the hillside, completely plugged up the culvert. You can see right here. That's been like that for about 2 years now. So this one is completely plugged. And then up around the turn where they should have taken the pavement over to the hillside, which they didn't. The big trucks come around here, you know, because the state delegates won't pass any severance tax, higher severance tax on the pipeline. This is what the pipeline has done to the road. So these are just some issues that could be easily solved. Yet we're not priority out here on this road, probably until somebody goes in the creek and gets killed. Then it'll be priority. Again, another place where it runs across the road. So maybe I can post this and do something, I don't know.